Trucks there, built to serve. Check in on the GOAT, Paul George.
Some people's GOAT. He is some people's GOAT.
After being courted by Embiid during the NBA Finals, we've got a new report that maybe he could join the Warriors, who would dangle a max contract in front of him, bring him to Northern California. Here's Paul George's stats this year. Career highs in field goal percentage, three-point percentage, and free throws. 91%, pretty good. His podcast, honestly, not bad.
Agreed.
Not bad. Solidly not bad if you're currently in the NBA is a high bar. Your reaction to Paul George to the Warriors?
Brew, I totally support this for the Warriors. Not because I think it necessarily makes them championship contenders even, but because I just believe if you have one of the greatest players ever and he is still performing at an elite level, even if it's not his apex, you owe it to him to always be all in. That's how I've always felt about LeBron every step of the way, and I feel the same way about Steph. As long as Steph is still an all-NBA level guy, you should constantly be going for it. You owe it to him, and Steph in particular, because he has been the consummate team guy. He's set aside his own numbers and shoe deal to bring in Durant, has always done everything right, has been the team's damn chaplain essentially dealing with the Draymond stuff, and he wants to win. And so I think you would have a better chance, even if I still would probably be like, yeah, you're probably going to lose in round one. But better chance. I don't care about Joe Lacob paying a luxury tax bill. No. It's not my problem. So I'm all for it, Brew. If they were to do it, I think they owe it to Steph. I don't know if they will, but I would support it.
No, I love it. I love it for Paul George. I don't think he seems lukewarm about going to Philly. He just doesn't. Now they appear to be lukewarm on him.
Yeah.
So, and you, look, Chris Paul and Andrew Wiggins work. Now, obviously, Paul probably is just, they might get rid of him, but it's just to get the money to make the trade work. The Clippers, because I'm trying to look at it from both sides, are they that much worse with Andrew Wiggins than Paul George?
Yes.
Paul George is much better. But how far are they going as they are now with George?
Don't you think
and you
they
don't have to pay him nearly as much
in this deal? I would think
that would be a lot to give up. Because I think the Warriors, like you said, even with Paul George and Kuminga, they're not like the favorite in the West. I'd like to keep Kuminga if I could. George is like a way better version of Andrew Wiggins. And when Wiggins played really well, they won the championship.
Right.
So I would love this for them. I'd even love it if, Clay would probably be so upset that he wouldn't want to come back. But if you could keep Clay with him, because that gives you some shooting, Clay moves down.
Is that feasible?
They could do it if they wanted, but I don't think Clay's attitude, because they can go over the cap.
Right, they can go over the cap to keep Clay, and they'd be trading for Paul George. So it is technically feasible.
But I don't know if Clay, because they're prioritizing Paul George ahead of Clay, and Clay's probably under.
Yeah, I think yes, it's feasible. No, it's not a realistic outcome, if that makes sense. Like cap-wise, they could make it work. But this does seem to be somewhat in conflict with Lacob on the record quote of saying our number one goal is to get under the tax line, much less this first or second apron. But I think that if I'm going to keep making this point because I just believe it to be true. And it's not stirring stuff. It's just being honest. The Warriors must do everything they can to stave off Steph Curry feeling like I have to make a decision between being a Warrior for life and competing. And if you don't get Paul George and Klay Thompson leaves and it's Steph and Draymond and whatever you get from Wiggins and the slow growth of the young guys, then Steph is going to realize I have to make that decision. And maybe it's an easy decision. I just want to be a Warrior for life. Yeah. But the ideal is that you are close enough that Steph feels like I have both. Yep. I'm a Warrior for life, and I'm still competing. And I'm still at least, tangentially in the conversation. If they went out and got Paul George, he would definitively feel that way. Even if we wouldn't pick him, he would be like, oh, yeah. We can do this.
Yeah, get me the playoffs.
Get me the playoffs and see what I do. So I just think that's smart. I think that's how teams should operate. Again, not a lot of teams are in this situation. It's like, oh, do we have one of the 15 greatest players ever as a homegrown guy? Let's go ahead and try to do what we can to stay
And the
relevant.
Lakers are, close enough with Anthony Davis where LeBron can feel like we got
a shot.
legitimate chance. We haven't just, given up.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Budless coming up next. What if Steph says, 2017 Villanova team, you're going to love the 2025 Knicks. New York added Mikal Bridges to the roster, sending a Rudy Gobert-esque haul of picks to Brooklyn and the ever-rebuilding Nets. You'll get them this time, Sean Marks. Here's what it looked like. Knicks are getting Mikal Bridges. The Nets are getting 5 first-round picks, a 2028 first-round swap, and a 2025 second. Did New York give up too much?
No. And gosh darn it, you should have put Sean Marks on the Bud list.
Oh.
That was a missed opportunity for us, for you to run back that old classic.
They went from 3 superstars to a full-on rebuild.
Multiple
He didn't
times.
even get the superstars there, right.
Multiple times. So here's the deal.
He's a charmed life.
The Knicks are not getting Giannis. And holding on to the picks for the hopes of maybe in 2 years you're not getting Giannis. You hold on to the picks in a year if Embiid's, unhappy, I suppose, but then Embiid's a year older. The injury,
He's hurt at some point.
It's a real concern. This fits. It's not too much because the Knicks still have picks from other teams. They still have a first from Detroit. Well, that's protected. Well, it's valuable, but it's protected 1 through 9 for 3 years. But assuming Detroit ever gets it together, they also have a pick from Washington. Assuming they ever get it together, that one's also protected, I think, just lottery protector, 1 through 9 protected. And they can, if they want to, move Julius Randle at some point for some stuff. So the cupboard is not totally bare. The team is very young, as in, you're not trading for a 35-year-old Kevin Durant or 34-year-old Kevin Durant. You're not trading for an aging player. Mikal Bridges makes $48 million total over the next 2 years, and we know it works.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have like the wow factor of getting an MVP candidate. But as far as building out a roster, it makes a ton of sense, Bruce, so I like it.
Look, I like the move, and we'll talk more Knicks, but they gave up more draft picks, more first-round picks than the Minnesota gave up for Rudy Gobert, who's made 3 All-Star teams, more than Cleveland gave up for Donovan Mitchell, who's made 5 All-Star teams, and more than Phoenix gave up, or Brooklyn gave up, or Phoenix gave up, for Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And obviously he's made 14 All-Star teams, and Mikal Bridges has made 0. So I like the trade, but here's what I'm saying. They gave up too much unless they win a championship. They are absolutely S-Bob. Wow. And I say that with hope for Knicks fans because they haven't been S-Bob, championship or bust, for a long time. So they have to win a championship. I mean, because the hope, Nick, and you know this, was in those picks. It was like, man, we're good. We're second round. We maybe get to the conference finals. And we got all these picks to improve, to get this star or that star. That's over now. I mean, they still could make some moves, but that pretty much is gone. So this is it. This is your squad. It is a good roster. It's a very good roster. Yeah. And they got to win the championship.
Okay, well, now we'll figure out if they can. So New York wasn't done with just the Bridges trade. OG re-signed with the Knicks on a 5-year, $212 million deal. Here's the championship odds. It's Celtics 1, Denver 2, New York all of a sudden at 3.
That is wild to see.
Then OKC, then the Wolves. Oddly, Mavs not on there, Giannis not on there.
Yeah, Mavs is in.
I know you're thinking, well, that seems high, but look at the record with Jalen and OG together. It includes the playoffs. 25-5 offensive rating, great. Defensive rating, even better. And they were below 500 in all the other games. So does New York really have a championship roster here?
I believe absolutely, because I believe they have excellent role players, a great defensive team, and a legitimate superstar. So I assume Brew.
Do you really?
I don't know if we have club superstar on the ready, but if we did, you'd see Jalen Brunson firmly in there. I am very interested in how Brew feels about this because Brew is a very well-known on the record Jalen Brunson skeptic. He's
I just don't think he's yet proven he's a superstar. How many
Every
All-Star
time
teams has
I
he
do
made?
King of the Hill, his critique is Jalen Brunson's too high. We do Club Superstar, and Brew is like, Rick wasn't a superstar, Jalen isn't either. I covered Rick.
Rick was a superstar in Summer League.
In Summer League, that is true. So I think that this